Hello guys and welcome back. Let me ask you a question. Be completely honest with me. Have you ever picked up a book, an article, or even a long social media post in English, read the first paragraph, hit 3 or 4 words you did not know, and just closed it? You felt that heavy, frustrating wave of, no, I'm not ready for this. I need to go back to my vocabulary lists. Trust me, I get it. It feels like you're trying to walk through a dark room full of furniture you can't even see. It is uncomfortable, I know, but today I'm going to tell you something that sounds completely crazy, but it might just be the single most important mindset shift you ever make in your English journey. You need to read in English precisely because you don't understand everything. In fact, stopping to look up every single word is actually killing your progress. In this video, we are not just talking about motivation. We are looking at the actual hard brain science of how we learn languages. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why a little bit of confusion is actually your brain's secret superpower for becoming fluent. So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's talk about why you need to stop reading through the fog. Let's talk with the godfather of modern language learning science, a linguist named Stephen Krashen. Back in the day, he came up with something called the input hypothesis, and it changes everything. Krashen argued that we don't acquire language by memorizing grammar rules and translating things word for word in our heads. We acquire it when we understand the overall message of what we are consuming. He called this formula I+1. Let me break that down. The I is your current English level right now. The +1 is content that is just one tiny step above your level. This means if you are reading a page and you understand roughly 70 to 80% of it, you are in the absolute golden zone for language acquisition. The 20% you don't know, that is the +1. That is the magic space where growth happens. Think about it like going to the gym. If you lift weights that are way too light, meaning you read things where you know 100% of the words, your muscles don't grow. You're just going through the motions. Also, on the other hand, if you try to lift a weight that is 10 times too heavy, like a beginner trying to read Shakespeare, you just get hurt and quit. When you read a book and don't understand every word, but you still understand the story, you are lifting the perfect amount of weight. Your brain is naturally stretching to fill in the blanks. You don't need a dictionary. Your brain is already doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Now, let's look at what is happening inside your head when you do this. Your brain is not a computer database where you just copy-paste vocabulary words. It is a living, breathing neural network. When you encounter a new word in the dictionary, your brain builds a tiny pathway to that word. If you don't use it, that path disappears in just a few days. But when you read the story, your brain uses something called statistical learning. It starts tracking patterns. Imagine that you're reading a mystery novel and the text says, "The detective walked through the alley, shivering as the chilly wind pierced his coat." Let's say you don't know the word chilly, but your brain knows. Okay, there's wind, the guy is shivering, he's wearing coat. Without you even realizing it, your brain runs a quick calculation and says, chilly must mean something like cold. You didn't look it up. You didn't stop reading. But your brain just figured out a word based entirely on its surroundings. And here's the best part. Because you figure it out through context, your brain connects that new word to hundreds of other things you already know. The feeling of winter, the concept of a cold, the action of shivering, that creates a massive, strong neural highway. That word is now locked in. If you stop every 5 seconds to open a translator app, you pull your brain completely out of the story. You break the spell. You stop learning the language and start doing a kind of data entry job. It is boring and scientifically is vastly less effective. Take a look at this. Most people fail at reading in English because they try to read a whole novel using intensive reading. They treat a 300-page book like a grammar exam. No wonder it feels exhausting. What I am telling you to do today is embrace extensive reading. When you read extensively, you give yourself permission to ignore the words you do not know. You are reading for the big picture. If a character walks into a room and the book expends 3 sentences describing the texture of the curtains using words you have never seen before, skip it. Does it change who the killer is? No! Keep moving. By turning pages faster, you expose your brain to thousands of words an hour instead of just a few hundred. You start to see how sentences are built naturally. You develop an intuitive feel for English grammar. You stop thinking about why a sentence is correct. It just sounds correct. So, here is my challenge for you this week. I want you to find something to read in English. It could be an article, it could be anything about your favorite hobby or fantasy novel, a comic book, or even a news article. I don't mind, you can pick whatever. All I want you to do is to sit down for just 15 minutes. Turn off your phone and read. If you hit an unknown word, I want you to just skip it. Say goodbye to it in your mind and keep reading the sentence. Keep going for the whole 15 minutes. See if you can finish a whole chapter. Let go of the need to be perfect. Being perfect is the enemy of fluency. The next time you feel uncomfortable because you don't understand every word on a page, take a deep breath and smile. That discomfort isn't failure. That is the sound of your brain building new neural pathways. That is you getting fluent. Thank you for watching, and if this video has helped you change how you think about English reading, please smash the like button, subscribe to our channel. We are just beginning. And if you do that, it's just great for all of us. And we can share the word. All right. I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye-bye.